I'm gonna start building, I think. I have the Must Love Dog site installed on local here, and I'll use this as a starting point. What do we call it? Like PMPro. Cool. And let me make sure I logged into the live site, which I do sometimes on
At some point,
calls.
you did log into the website, so you need to get out.
Yeah, get out because sometimes I'll update our site by accident. I might want to reference the hub. What am I gonna do? Okay. Um, so this is Must Love Dogs. I was joking with Kim earlier where I was like, man, it hurts my brain to come up with like an excuse to be adding communities to the Must Love Dog site. You'd be like, oh, all the dog lovers are gonna want to come talk to each other, which actually I guess is simple enough. And I think we do that, but it's funny sometimes. Like I keep slowing down whenever I think I'm like, oh, this isn't really my site, but it'll help us showcase the technology. So we had those three options. There's definitely options for offsite, Facebook, Slack, Discord. In reverse order, we have decent integrations for Discord. There are some integrations for Slack, but maybe you have to be paying for Slack. And I think we took out some of the tools we personally had for this paid Slack integration because there's so few people really using it. Although we pay for Slack now in our work account, but we don't pay for Slack for the community side. I think the pricing of Slack doesn't really work out to make sense paying for it for most community sites. Anyway, there's a really good Discord integration plugin. And then Facebook, as far as I know, like you can maybe use Zapier, but you might want like a manual process for adding or removing folks. But we're like, hey, let's look at the WordPress solutions. And we had bbPress, which is like a forum solution. And we have BuddyPress, which is adds a bunch of modules on top of forums, and then BuddyBoss, which is, like I said, like a layer on top of BuddyPress, a fork of it with some polish. And maybe I'll give myself like 15 minutes each to install and play with those. I'll focus on how you can integrate it with Paid Memberships Pro at each step. And I'll be going raw on these, and we'll see my kind of initial reaction of setting up bbPress for the first time and stuff like that. And I think after this video, I'll really reflect on what I wanna do. I'm gonna be taking notes on some of the gaps that I see in any of the solutions for my purpose of building a place on my website for our customers to talk to each other, um, and notes and things like that. Maybe there's things I wanna hide. Maybe there's things they do that I wanna hide. Maybe there's things they do that kinda, like, mess up our theme and things like that, and we have to handle. Maybe there's things they don't do, and, like, we could build, like, a better service for it. And I think this kind of like in terms of functionality and maybe like design, like bbPress to BuddyPress to BuddyBoss, like it's getting bigger and better. So it'd be interesting at the end to see how that goes. All right. So this is the Must Love Dog site. If you go to paidmembershipspro.com and search for the demo site, there's a link to download like a zip file you can use with Flywheel Local, or you can extract some things from that zip file to get a site that looks like this. But this is basically Paid Memberships Pro. It's it's using the MemberLite theme that we build. That's a classic theme for WordPress that is free in the .org repository and looks really good with Paid Memberships Pro. Let me see what other plugins I have installed. This basic user avatars plugin is ours. It just gives us avatars. Code snippets is useful if we do any customization. It has a contact form. I don't really need this import users from CSV, but we used it to like import demo users. A couple plugins for MemberLite, thumbnails plugin. I have this PayPal Express. We do a pricing page with advanced short code. I don't know. I don't know why I'm going through every single plugin. What I want to do is, oh, it's going slow to deactivate. But what I want to do is
Since you're
add
going
bbPress.
through plugins
Yes.
right now, Jason, is
Yeah.
there a initial, like, best order in downloading your plugin, or does it matter?
Oh, like in order to download them
Like, when you're
and
setting
like
up a new
on a brand
site?
new site. Hmm,
Mm.
no, but we do have plugins that we install on almost every site. On Paid Memberships Pro slash download, we have a bundle that's available for free and paid users, I believe. That's a zip file with the latest version of WordPress, the latest version of PMPro, MemberLite, and the plugins that we like. There's some that aren't on here that we like because they're marked like Yoast SEO for SEO. And we recommend like a few other plugins. Um, man, that's a good question. That's a question for the website builders. Like I said, I'm not building websites from scratch too often. We need to like, ask the actual people. Maybe if anyone in chat has opinions.
My thought is, as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as installing and activating them, there probably
Yeah.
isn't, like, a specific order that you need to go into, but in order to restrict your event manager, you
Oh,
need to
yeah.
have your
Mm.
PMPro Pro account set up first and have, like, your pages and your levels and that stuff
Yeah.
before you can go in and restrict your event. So, as far as installing them, I would say it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but setting them up, there might be a process.
Yeah. I think it's good. It's kinda like the inverse of that. We often have people in support who are like, "I built my website over the past 3 months, and I thought I could install memberships in 2 days and launch this weekend." And we're like, "Whoa, it's a little late to think about the business model for your website. You should have been addressing these things earlier." Or when you're building like, honestly, like, Paid Memberships Pro, like, the membership plugin is, like, one of the most complicated plugins on your site if you're running it probably. And so maybe start with the complicated ones and make sure it's working and you really wanna use it and you have it right before you start using, like, the integrations and things like that. So it's good to yeah, I don't know, tackle the hard stuff first can help too. Yeah, that's a good point. If you have your membership level set up, like I have already membership levels in here when I demo, it's gonna be easier to set up my forms. I sometimes I could see let's get it working first and then figure out how to restrict it. But then you might get surprised that Paid Memberships Pro doesn't do what you really need it to do, and you want to switch to a different membership plugin or whatever. That
The
doesn't happen that
Quilting
often.
Guild
Yeah.
Yeah, the Quilting Guild site that I've been working on for the past couple months, I did install Payerships Pro, but then I cleaned up the site a little bit because it was already established. So I, like, worked on cleaning it up before I started making my levels and my member pages and restricting
Yeah.
content, and then I did all of that before I even imported our
Yeah.
members, and I have the members imported right now, but they don't even have access to log in yet. I haven't even touched that yet. So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
working in progressions, and I think that's
Yep.
just the best way to go about it.
Yep. I think so. One thing that'll come up when we get in the BuddyPress is BuddyPress has a ton of modules, and so does BuddyBoss, and you wanna take it slow. A lot of people are like, "Turn them all on, why not?" And I find if you're bringing a community online, if you already have an audience, you can't introduce like 12 different things to them at once. It's find the core feature and share that and get people used to using it, and then it's like, "Hey, guess what? It's your birthday. Here's a new feature." It's and actually, for the demonstration I'm gonna do, I'm gonna focus on the core, like, communication channel of these plugins. They have tons of functionality, especially BuddyPress and BuddyBoss, but I wanna only focus on, like, the feature of communicating with each other. So that's true of modules as well. Let me find bbPress. I think all of these plugins maybe are in the repository. Maybe BuddyBoss is a download. We'll see. bbPress. I'm gonna install this now. And again, there might be alternatives. These are ones I'm familiar with. I wanna see how they're doing. I activated from that plugins page. And now if I restart, actually, it's funny. I know why this is the case. It doesn't always add the menus right away. It's actually really hard to like retroactively add the menus after you activate the plugin because the menu gets generated so early. And I feel like bbPress used to have like a redirect to a nice welcome screen, but I didn't get it. So I went to dashboard and now I know I'm going to set up my forums. So this isn't like the complete newbie tour. This isn't a good, how maybe a brand new person would set up a forum. I have some familiarity with this stuff. So I'm just going to dive in and go quickly like Jason would set up this stuff and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to create a new forum. This is going to be my community. I know that this old bbPress like forum software, you can have multiple forums and each forum has threads inside of them. So it's like a way to group communication. And on really established websites, they might have like a ton of them. And there's like the water cooler, and if you use Slack or Discord, maybe they're equivalent to channels. But another piece of advice that I've given before I think is good is start small with one or very few forms and add new ones on as they become necessary, because you spread out the communication across too many forms. It's hard to, people don't find each other. And maybe you don't really need a forum for the baseball chatter. No one cares about baseball on your forums. So I'm going to start with just one. So I'm just going to call it community. And then the description, I don't know, this is for like a place for all of our members to talk to each other. Be well. Okay. So actually here, like what also would be good is like to come up with guidelines. And I bet if you look online or ask ChatGPT, you can get like a really good set of like community guidelines that are important for the forums. And it's good to be like clear and upfront about those. I don't know if the description, like where this actually gets shown, but if the description is the best place, I won't get to it on this video, but it mentally, hey, if people are coming to my forum for real, I need the community guidelines up front and to tell people to be respectful of each other so that when you kick out the bad actors, you can point to your rules. Now I know for PMPro, we're going to lock these down by membership level. This is actually, it's a little confusing. There's this status and visibility. And you're like, oh, I want to lock it for members. So maybe it's closed or maybe it's private. But these are features built into bbPress to integrate with Paid Memberships Pro. You lock the forum down differently. So I'm just going to publish the forum open and public for now and see what happens. So this is good. It works. I got that. And then I can be like, this is my first post. It's funny. ChatGPT like going as I do this to give me dummy data. Cool. There's topic tags. That sounds good. Oh, there's, I can make it sticky because I'm admin, I guess. Topic status. Notify me of follow-up replies by email. Cool. All right. I made a forum. And just so you can see, this is what the forum, I can reply to my own posts. But if other people replied, it would look like this. And I think someone was talking about V Bulletin. This is, although I haven't seen V Bulletin in like over 15 years, this is, very similar interface to that, where if you look at the breadcrumbs here, we have forums, the community forum, and then topics in here. I think if you actually keep only one forum, a note I would take is like, sometimes it's cool to skip this page if you only have one. That's something I should actually take real notes. Guidelines. And then let me protect this. So actually, if you're looking at my site, I'm logged in as the admin. If I'm logged out and come to this, I see that there's a forum called community. I can click on it. I can even read everything. It's public. Remember I said it to public. I was like, oh, this is only for my dog lovers forum. I want to protect it. So actually, if I go to the dashboard, I'd be curious if we show a banner. So you might see this, you might not. We try not to show these banners too often because it's annoying to get banners. These are only shown on the Paid Memberships Pro page, but we do have code inside Paid Memberships Pro that says, wait, are you running a plugin we integrate with? You're not using our integration plugin. You should install the integration plugin and use it to lock down bbPress. So I did get the notification, but if you recently dismissed a notification, we try to like be quiet and not really bug you too often. You might not see that, but I know it exists. So I'm going to add the bbPress plugin from here. Our bbPress plugin is in the .org repository and is available for free there. And it's funny, like if you search sometimes for stuff we integrate with, the core plugin shows up first. But what I really want is this one here, bbPress restrict membership forms for paying members only. So I'm going to install this and I'm going to activate this now. I could have clicked that link in the notification and it either would take me to a page to explain things to me or maybe would have automatically updated. But now I have the bbPress, the PMPro bbPress plugin active. And basically what that plugin does is when I go to my forum and I click on the community forum, I should have a new box over here that says require membership. And this is the same require membership box that would show up for pages and posts by default with PMPro. And now I can say, hey, this form needs a paying level to get in. And I can choose all of them or just the only ones that have access to a form to the forums. Um, if as soon as I check one of these boxes, anyone who's logged out or doesn't have one of the checked plans doesn't have access. So if I want only these levels aren't actually functioning on my demo site, but if hey, you need one of these 3 levels, I can check those boxes and then click update. And now when here's where I cross my fingers and hope it works. If I'm logged out and I refresh on that page, it takes me back to the root of the forums and it says, hey, this forum is for members only. And here's like where a case where depending on the nature of your site or your own personality, you might want, I don't even want them to know I have forums. Or I want to hide even this page. And I think we have a gist on that on how to do it on the website. I think it's like a coding gist. It might be settings actually. Let me look really quick here. Members? No, maybe settings, bbPress. Does bbPress not have its own settings page? Maybe not. Oh, here, settings forums. Do we put a thing down here? So I don't even know how our own software works. Yeah, okay, PMPro Pro. Here's some settings. Add members links form to the link section of the membership account page. So I can show what all these are, maybe really quick, feature our integration here. When I go to my account page, it shows me my invoices. I have a member link to like print my membership card because I have that add-on functioning. If I go here to member links and I check that, it's going to show me a link to the forums in the member links, or it should. Maybe that's not functioning. All right, double check. We always have bugs here. Add link to members forum in the member link section of membership account page. We got to take a note to look into that. It seems like a bug. Here's the one I was thinking, hide member forms. So like from form lists and search results. So if you want to hide the fact that you have a forum, like sometimes don't let people know the members have forums, or I just want as little integration or interaction with that as possible unless you're actually paying. Hide the forum roles by default. When I'm looking at a forum in the replies, I think it shows like what my role is. Oh, I'm not a member. Let me purchase access quick. I don't have a gateway, so I should just be able to check out. Another thing that I really glanced over, I set up the form. I don't have it in my menu. Depending on your theme, like maybe it's adding everything automatically to the menu, but my MemberLite and how I have the menu set up, it's not in there. So there's a couple different ways to do that. The one that I like to do is to go to appearance menus. And then bbPress puts this forums section here. And if I click that, I can add to menu. And it should, community. Yep. And actually, I was confused. This is called community, but it's like, hey, community forums. It feels like this needs a little bit more. You can change the name of it. Save the menu. And now, I was nervous on these things. We already have one bug. We have a link to the community forum. So I can get to the forums. I'm paying now. So when I go in, it shows like these roles that bbPress creates. PMPro team is the name of my name for the user I'm logged in. I'm a key master. So let me see here. If I want to hide the forum roles, it replies, that's good. Show membership levels instead, maybe. It's good. If you have a lot of different levels and you're like, hey man, these people are paying for the super duper premium level, let them show that off in the forums and get clout for that. Another thing that we often do with our forums is and this is advanced, I won't show it, but I'll hand wave, is so now it shows your level instead of your role. There's CSS for depending on your role and your level for each of the replies. And you can add styles to your site to say, hey, if someone who's paying me more replies, highlight their reply, make it bigger, make it more prominent in the style, but that's something I would look into when I was doing like custom styles on a site. Yeah. So this is working. Like I've blazed through this one. The one thing like, and so here I would do some research is this is slow. If I sit on this page and someone replies, I'm never going to see it until I refresh the page or write a reply myself. And the cadence of the updates is slow. There's also not like a timeline, like if you're, I'm always using Facebook as the source of truth for communities because I think the user interface is really good. There isn't like a timeline of showing me like the most recent interesting things. So it's pretty fun. Oh, Kim wants me to try it. Are there settings on the membership levels? Ooh, oh my goodness. Some of this is already built in. So forum role. Oh, here's another feature. So maybe, and actually I wanted to talk about the roles that bbPress creates. By default, WordPress has a few roles, but the two important ones are like the subscriber. Like every user who signs up for your site by default usually is a subscriber. They have access to view and subscribe to your content. Then there's authors who can create posts, and then there's administrators who can edit anything on the post. There's editors that can edit other people's posts. So in the bbPress space, they create their own set of roles that are pretty similar. Blocked is actually, I don't want this person to ever be able to post because they're a bad actor. Spectator is, I want them to be able to read, but they can't write back. Participant is they can actually reply. Moderator gives them access to do some moderation activity on other people's posts and things like that. I don't know if they can delete things, but they can definitely like mark it as spam and things like that. And then key master, I'm not exactly sure, read the bbPress manual, but it's like this person has access to potentially make new forms and do other stuff on your website. But like a common use case here is like maybe people can, so everyone can spectate, but if you want to participate, you have to pay a certain amount. And maybe even your moderators have to pay a certain amount to be able to moderate. And if you do that, I would also recommend the approvals plugin for Paid Memberships Pro that will make sure people have to be approved, even though they've given you money before you actually give them the full level, because you don't want people to just pay. This was, if people could pay to moderate, they might want to pay and then be able to delete other people's posts and have bad behavior. The other features baked in at the level is what I was talking about earlier is like you might want people of certain levels to have different background color. So I forget exactly how what's going to look cool with how I have things themed. But if I save that and then go here, ta-da. Oh, is it not working, Kim? Maybe we got to fix this. Background color. Oh, you can also add custom styles in your CSS file. Oh, because I'm only a beginner. I didn't actually buy the right level. So let me see here. I was like, I want purple plans. Let me check out. I want purple replies. Woo. Okay, now my posts are purple. That's a little garish, but you get the idea that there's this kind of thing that you want to do. Cool. That's a demo of bbPress. Like I think I could do a search really quick. Let me search like the WordPress forums. Is there like a bbPress? What would you call this though? It'd be called like real time, or like bbPress Ajax. It's weird. I'm like searching for this in real time. I would want to look, and I'm definitely not going to install a plugin and run it now. But I built these in the past. We've built this for one-on-one off customers, and I feel like it'd be cool to build one, or if someone does it really well, hit me up or let me know, and I'd like to promote your plugin. But what I'm really looking for is like a way to turn the view of this into a chat and it's using Ajax to get back. And also the view of this thread. This is the list of topics. There's only one topic, but I could do a second one. I want this view to be more modern day social network. This pulled me into the topic, but when I'm looking like inside the forum, it puts the one that was most responded to up at the top and stuff like that. But I can't see any of the content. I can't see any of the replies. Like people are used, and especially the mobile experience, people are used to scrolling through and chatting. And I feel like it would help a ton if this. So maybe that's like a thing too, is I think of like bbPress mobile. 'Cause it's interesting for me to see what's out there. Style pack. Cool. If people know about these things, let me know. I think partially the solution is done. Use bbPress, use BuddyPress, which we're gonna look at in a moment. But for me, like I feel like bbPress is a really nice, singularly focused platform for having topics and replies, which is almost all I need. And there's tools for adding GIFs and emojis and files and things like that we might like. Maybe like Ajax. It's funny that I'm getting just these people have really good .org SEO, right? The same plugins. So I don't know if this plugin is really obvious or maybe it's paid. I don't know. You don't want to watch me like browse the internet. I'm going to look for this. I take a note. If we find one, I think we'll share it with the team here. But maybe what I'm going to do is, like, I just installed bbPress and I'm not crazy about it. What I really want is something a little more interactive. I heard BuddyPress is good. So let me install BuddyPress. I may so bbPress is, I know this again, it's just Jason installing it. bbPress is incorporated under BuddyPress. It's one of the modules. So I'm going to deactivate bbPress for now. And I'm going to deactivate the bbPress add-on for paid memberships pro. Or I did that already. I want to deactivate the bbPress. And I'm going to install BuddyPress. It's very likely BuddyPress like reactivates it. But I want to try to install BuddyPress and not use bbPress as part of it, but actually just use what BuddyPress calls, I think, the like activity stream feature. And Sam, if there were questions about bbPress, you can interrupt before I move on.
I don't think anything specific about bbPress, but there are 2 questions
Sure.
before we go to the next one. So Jim is asking, are there any issues with new membership subscribers who already have an existing WordPress account?
So I assume he means like with respect to using bbPress and restricting forums. And in that case, there aren't, as far as I know. So as soon as you check a form to require a membership level, anyone who has that level now has access, and anyone who doesn't have access. And um, there's maybe like a sub question in there of sometimes you have users on your WordPress website who don't have a membership level. PMPro treats those as users without a membership level, and they don't have a level, so they shouldn't have access to bbPress if you're locking it down. But that is a confusion in some other cases with other plugins where like the plugin says, hey, they have a user account. I'm going to give them access. And hopefully, like, depending on what plugin you're using, that's part of what we do for our day job is say, hey, PayMemberships Pro has an opinion on what it means to have access to something now that levels are engaged. But sometimes it gets a lot out of whack. Like one case, actually, maybe like a keyword that something might be up is if like the verb that you use is like enroll or subscribe instead of access. So if you have a LMS plugin where you get enrolled into a course when you have a membership level, sometimes like I activate Paid Memberships Pro and I lock that course down for that level, it doesn't automatically enroll everyone. It's hard for us to do that because if you have 100,000 users on your site, it would have to enroll people. Like enrolling it's some often like technically more involved. It has to update data in a bunch of places and you can't just do it at the snap of your fingers. So you have sometimes, and hopefully we catch this with different LMSs that we integrate with and we give you warnings and tools to get around that and how to do it. Another case of like email marketing systems. So if you're integrating with a MailChimp or an Active Campaign, when you change your settings and say, hey, everyone who has this level should be in this list, anyone who checks out or changes into that level gets added to that list through the APIs, but we can't run through every user and kind of kick off the API to move them in. And we could build a tool to do that, and some other people do, but our answer in that case is download your members and import them into your email tool because the tools for doing that are really quick and good. And it adds like a human element. Sometimes you do or don't want to change things. So I talked about that a lot, but hopefully that answers some of the concerns Jim has. What was the other one there?
Yeah, Greg is asking if someone wanted to move their 1,000 forum posts over, is there a way
Okay.
to upload to a database via PHP MySQL,
Yeah.
or do you recommend not to do that?
Yeah, so if you're importing forum posts over,
That
man,
sounds
we
scary.
yeah, it is scary. We helped someone import from PHP BB to bbPress, and bbPress is pretty popular. I don't remember if we used a tool or if we did it by custom. Kim's around, she might remember. Usually, for popular forum software to bbPress, you usually can find a kinda import tool, and I'm not familiar with them, but it feels like they should work. I think sometimes forums have, like, features or data structures that are hard to map to just topics and replies for some reason. And so sometimes it gets like a little off, or the formatting's not perfect, or images maybe don't come over and that's like an extra task. But you should be able to find an import. I wouldn't be like suspicious of them. Like I would try to make sure they're good quality tools by asking around, and definitely make a backup of my database before I ran them. But I think there's import tools for most like popular forum softwares. And I feel like we've done this kind of thing before. So if you're like, "Hey, I'm comfortable with PHP," I wouldn't do it directly in the database as a novice. Like, I would try to find a tool. Maybe that's the answer. But it definitely is possible. And if you feel hardcore about it, feel free to reach out for some pointers. But like both the forum topics and replies are in the WP post table with like specific post types and like a pretty standard format. So you could imagine like a tool that like if you export it to some format, a tool that just converts that to MySQL queries and imports them correctly. Probably try to find a tool. Sorry. Yeah.
And then one more question, and I can answer this question. Do
Yeah,
you
go for
have
it.
to install bbPress plugin and the PMPro BBS plugin? Yes. If you want the 2 to talk to each other because it's an integration, our bbPress plugin integrates with bbPress, the Singularity plugin. That way you can restrict your memberships or restrict it by membership.
We lost my desktop again because my
Oh, we did lose your desk.
screensaver went on. How do I turn my screensaver on? It's really weird.
But yes, you need both.
Lock screen. Oh, here we go. Screensaver starts when inactive for longer than that. Okay, cool. I gotta present again. Yep. So right now, yep, it's 2 different plugins. And
There we go.
although it's not
Entity
too
salmon,
burdensome.
Jason. There you go.
Wee. Okay. Keep those questions coming. I like it. People are still around. We're going long. I'm gonna at least set up BuddyPress and maybe take a look at BuddyBoss too. So let me set up BuddyPress on this website. I did deactivate both of those bbPress plugins. BuddyPress I know is in the WordPress.org repository, so I'm gonna search for that and install it. I'll just click install now. As soon as it's done, I'll click activate. So actually, this Usify here is that's pretty popular. 9,000 actually. I've heard of that one before. There's some competitors. I'm only showing a few. There's definitely competitors to these plugins that might be worth a look at too. Some of which that also integrate with PMPro. This pops up the change log for me. What's new? All right, cool. All right. Again, I realized that like if I want all the menu, I refresh the page. And I think BuddyPress when you activate it, I maybe skip something was helping me. Under settings, it goes BuddyPress. And then I was calling them modules earlier. They're called components. And here's all the features of BuddyPress that I might want to incorporate. And some of these are on by default. Um, and again, like I said before, a lot of people are like, yeah, do all the things, check them all. But I think if you're launching this for fresh for your membership, it really is useful to do it a little bit at a time. And definitely all this stuff has to be styled and integrate potentially with your themes and things. So you want to on a staging site or something, set it up and make sure it works. But in terms of pushing stuff on your members and the users of your website, keep it simple. But this is what BuddyPress installs with by default. Extended profiles. Um, this is pretty cool. Some of this functionality overlaps with Paid Memberships Pro. So it's not a bad idea to disable that. If you're using Paid Memberships Pro, we have a setting called user fields, and we do have front end profiles. So you can use user fields if you want. There is code in our integration plugin with BuddyPress that tries to synchronize these fields. If you create extended profile fields and PMPro user fields, they stay in sync. But every once in a while, if you have tricky fields, it gets like a little weird, and it just is why manage it in two places. So I think I'm actually going to disable this one for now because I just want my people to talk. I don't mind. I don't want the profile settings. Account settings, modify their account and notification settings directly from within their profiles. This is like an interesting thing of, I was taking notes. Yeah. So it's like account settings, but, um, this is another spot where Paid Memberships Pro and BuddyPress overlap. And this is what I was talking about where I didn't have this issue with bbPress whatsoever. Hey, it adds this functionality that I don't already have on my Paid Memberships Pro site. When you install BuddyPress, it installs a few features that we already have on our site, and you may or may not, maybe don't want them. But this one, I'm worried if I uncheck it, I'm not going to be able to change my notification settings, which maybe are important. I don't remember exactly what those are. But what I might want to do is I don't want to have two account pages. I'm pretty certain there's a blog post on the Paid Memberships Pro site about like merging the BuddyPress and the PMPro account pages together and like, choosing one or the other and moving the content from one to the other. But I'm going to deactivate this for now. I'm going to deactivate notifications too. Although maybe that's a functionality I said. I was like, hey, I want like people to be able to chat with each other, and I want like it to look good on mobile and work good on mobile. And I focused a lot on how there's mobile notifications. I don't know if these BuddyPress notifications are like mobile native, but maybe I'll leave them on and just see how it works, even though I don't have account settings. Private messaging is another feature that I'm going to skip over today, but I think it's really interesting to have if you're using BuddyPress. Let your members talk to each other. It comes up. They want to have sidebar conversations. It feels a little bit to me like a potential, was it like opening for like liability or just drama or issues? Because technically those private messages, I believe, are stored plain text in the database and admins can view them. I could be wrong. Maybe BuddyPress has some kind of security on them, but it feels if people think they're talking in private, I don't know. Why am I worried about people talking in private? But but it does add like this new thing that you maybe got to worry about. The other thing, actually, like not to just like the drama aspect of it on our team Slack, I often people DM each other. That's fine. And I'm often encouraging the team to consider, hey, that conversation you had by DM, could it have been done in public? Because then everyone gets to see it. Everyone benefits from the learning. Other people can chime in. This isn't a giant social network where it shouldn't be, where like random people are getting involved and being angry at each other. You have guidelines, you have a group of like-minded people. The more of that conversation that's in like the public channels, the better. So anyway, I would consider like launching without private messaging. And then when everyone demands it, releasing it and then being like their savior. Like, thank you so much for giving private messages. It's awesome. And then you'd be like, hey, try not to abuse it because we want to see all your good conversations. I'm doing a lot of like weird theoretical storytelling. So that's what I'm thinking. There's also user groups. So I don't think I need those, kind of overlap with membership levels. And I think maybe like the groups are related to forums. So like groups can have forums, and that's how like BuddyPress installs bbPress. Site tracking, I don't need to record activity. Although yeah, that sounds, I think like the activity stream is the chat, but it's like, hey, do you want to put new posts and comments into the activity stream? That's a feature I think I would look at later. Um, cool. And so that's another thing is like you have members, quote unquote, and we do a lot of work, and I'm going to install that add-on we have for BuddyPress to make this as simple as possible, but it does get a little confusing. This word members now comes up in a couple spaces. So anyway, this is Jason Coleman thinking about if I wanted to use a community site on BuddyPress for myself on my own websites, when I install it, I might deactivate the account settings and the profiles. Maybe we'll come back and turn those on later because I don't want to overlap with those features in PayMarshals Pro. I'm going to go with activity streams. I'm hesitant about notifications, but I'm going to leave it checked and I'm going to click save settings. Let me see, there's other options here. And I guess for completeness, I'll browse through them really quick. Like the toolbar. So yeah, I don't know if you notice, like WordPress adds a toolbar. BuddyPress makes it super, adds like extra stuff. There is a feature for paid memberships pro to hide the toolbar from everyone but admins. And we typically recommend that we enable that. So that's another thing you want to look into. If you're using PMPro and you're hiding the toolbar from subscribers, they can't benefit from the super BuddyPress toolbar. It's maybe useful, maybe not. I think for notifications it is, but I might just disable the toolbar to anyway. Like I think actually it'd be interesting to see how these features overlap with each other because Paid Memberships Pro is now trying to hide the toolbar anyway, and then BuddyPress is trying to show the toolbar. And this already is like a good I bet the team handled it like on either side. These issues come up and then we figure it out. But this is like the kind of things that plug-in integration issues that come up where there's not actually a solution. If you check a box that says show the toolbar on one screen and you check a box on the other screen that says hide the toolbar, both those plugins are going to try to like obey you. And it's who wins, who does it more aggressively, what is one method over the other. Or maybe like we talk behind the scenes and, hey, let's get our settings to sync, but that's not really possible either. Anyway, I guess allow people to delete their account. That sounds good. There's like this legacy theme, but we want the newer thing. But your theme might want that. And actually, Member Lite, the theme that we're using has, I believe it might have bbPress and BuddyPress styles or templates inside of it. So it'd be interesting to see how it works. I guess I'll leave some of these defaults. I'm already using basic user avatar, so I don't know how their avatar thing is gonna work with ours. We'll let it go though. That'd be cool if they worked automatically together. Maybe they do. Membership requests, invites. So we don't want invites. We're using memberships, comments, activity auto refresh. This is what I said was like, hey, here's the main feature you're going to get from the activities versus bbPress is like the activity stream that we haven't even seen yet, but we'll get to is going to refresh, in quasi real time so that you see updates as they come in and it facilitates a more like chat interface. I don't think I have to change pages. We might come back here. There's like a PMPro page. Credits. Cool. My name might be on there somewhere. Okay, cool. Registration is disabled. This is another thing like PayMarshals Pro and bbPress and BuddyPress rather both want to take over the WordPress registration. I want to let WordPress use it. You might, if you love BuddyPress and maybe you started with BuddyPress and you come to PayMarshals Pro, for a lot of these decisions, you might go the other way. I want to use BuddyPress's profile fields and ignore Paid Memberships Pro's fields. I'm going to use BuddyPress's registration and ignore PMPro. You have to handle it somehow. I'm doing the opposite here. Now, remember, if you watch the bbPress section, we had this nice little notification that was like, hey, I see you're using bbPress. Maybe you want to use the integration plugin for Paid Memberships Pro. There is a banner like that, but like I said, there's settings in our banner notifications that say don't show too many banners too often. And it's not going to show me that banner for like at least 24 hours, I think. So I don't see it, but I do know that there is, and I'm thinking of this this is a thing we're thinking about lately. Like if you have PayMarshals Pro installed and you install like a plugin that integrates, I think it's fair to interrupt the user in a more stressful way and be like, hey, it's not stressful, but like a stronger way and say, hey, like you probably want to integrate with PayMarshals Pro, make sure you've installed it, but also let you choose not to. Maybe you don't. But anyway, so I have to install our integration plugin, which also is in the WordPress.org forms. I saw the Akismet plugin there and they like spam is a big deal with forum sites, and actually using something like Paid Memberships Pro, where you either charge for access or you use our spam control or our approvals process, is a really good way to cut down on the spam of having an open forum. And I'm going to activate. Okay, cool. Thank you for activating. View the settings to get started with the BuddyPress add-on. So these are our settings. This is reminding me I don't have my gateway set up, but this is like a pretty important step. And I think this is one of those things where like we can't do this automatically because we're not sure how you're using BuddyPress. But if you go to manage settings, like we really want there to be like this PMPro wants this access restricted page, and you can click generate, and maybe we can make that a little nicer, but we we need you to create that page. So that's important. We show a message that tries to explain it. And then here's some other settings, non-member user settings. So I actually think these settings are confusing, but we built this. But I'm like, I think it's just, there's not, I'm open to feedback. We figured out there's, it's not very easy to make these settings not complicated. And actually, before I enable this, I should demo a little bit of what BuddyPress is doing on the front end. Sorry, let me go here. And because I'm an admin, I have this activity and I can go personal, and it's showing me my activity stream. And it gives me a box that feels very much Facebook. Maybe it's a little dated, the style. I'm doing well. Demo is going. And I post the update. And so this is the box and it shows this here. And I guess noticeably, like, it's not letting me reply to myself like BuddyPress, or bbPress did. But I guess if I was another user, I could reply. Maybe I have to demo that. This is our update. I'm almost certain there's replies on these streams, but maybe you can't reply to your own stuff. But here mentions, if people were mentioning me, it would show up. Favorites, I can favorite activity streams. It's giving me a profile. So I get like a profile here. So there's also like the profile, like account page up here, which I thought I disabled this, or is this the same? Maybe I didn't really disable profile, disabled like a feature of it. I can change my photo. I'm pretty sure I have an avatar, so it's not linked to like my basic user avatars. So take notes just like for typical PMPro users and the plugins that you're using, like some of the things that you still have to figure out. And then it's weird, there's a membership tab. And what's cool is I guess we put the PayMemberships Pro in there. Maybe I think this might be here because the PMPro integration squeezes this membership tab in there. I know if there's groups and you're a member of a group is like a term that BuddyPress also uses. But let me see here. But I have access to my activity stream. This is what it looks like. Now, what I want to do is actually, let me see what this looks like from like a logged out user. Can other people see my stream? Nah, it's restricted. And you know what? This is PMPro BuddyPress. So actually, let me disable our integration plugin quick. And I'm sorry, I'm backing up a little bit. I just want to show you like what native BuddyPress is like without our integration plugin. I think this is probably public. Oh no. Oh, I'm on this page. Hold on. I don't know if you saw my URL. There's a page called access restricted. That's where we send you if you don't have access to something. So I just refreshed like the access restricted page. But what I meant to do is come back here and you'll see this activity is public. And I do think that BuddyPress ships by itself with functionality to say, hey, you have to be logged in as a WordPress user to view things. But again, similar to how we did bbPress, it's, hey, keep BuddyPress settings public and open and let Paid Memberships Pro handle it through our integration add-on. What we're going to do is re-enable that plugin. And again, it's 2 plugins, or there's 3 involved here: Paid Memberships Pro, BuddyPress, and then the integration plugin. And if I get back to those settings under memberships, PMPro BuddyPress. So by default, and I guess this was a decision, like, hey, if you activate this plugin, you probably want to restrict BuddyPress. So by default, we block access to all of BuddyPress. So for non-users. So if you're not a user, you don't have access to BuddyPress anymore. And that's typically what you want. I think like you almost rarely want, I guess there's some cases you want some information public, but you can't like reply or join groups unless you're a member. But that's how that goes. And then if for membership level settings, you have to edit all the membership levels. So I can view my own stuff, but I guess if maybe I should sign up on that other screen. Why can't I get to the, here it is. Okay. So if I want to sign up, I don't know. I have to fill that out. I need a real number. Let's check out. Cool. So again, remember like the toolbar is hidden and I can't find the activity stream because there's no link to it. It might show up in search results, but that's not what actually, oh, activity is like the access restricted because this level doesn't have access yet. So there's a couple things I got to do yet to set this up. One is I want to put like the activity stream into the menu and let's call it like community forum, even though it's an activity stream. So I'm going to appear, I'm back as the admin now. I'm going to appearance menus. So there's some recent here, but there's BuddyPress member. Let me see here. Okay, so under BuddyPress member, I want to add the activity. And notice this is invalid. That's really interesting. Like the GUI for that is, that's actually pretty cool. bbPress is deactivated, so it like knows not to show that menu. But this is the activity, and we'll call this like whatever, like the community tab. And so now if I switch back to the other user and refresh, I have a community tab, which takes me to my activities stream. I feel like this is pretty good, but I think if I hit enter, it goes enter. I think on Facebook, if you, maybe not, it's like you, like if I went just faster, like this interface, maybe I would want to tweak. But I would take that note as it's a little faster. And actually, actually one of the reasons I wanted to do this was like, hi, I'm new here. Just see what it's like when there's multiple users. And this, hopefully this comes across well on the screen. I'm logged in as BP test. I just did a message. If I go back as the admin and go to the community, can I see his message? How do I see his message? Maybe I can't really, unless I have groups. So maybe we need groups. Where's all? There should be like an all. What I want is, it's not just my stream. I want everyone's stream. So I wonder if there's, if we go to activity, member activities, I can find that page and there's like a directory feature of, oh, I'm not a member. Wait, am I not the right? Oh, here's one thing I have to do actually. So I can see my own activity. I can't see other people's activity. Maybe that's because it's restricted. So one thing I have to do is I have to give levels access to BuddyPress. I was able to see my own stuff and it knows, okay, you're looking at your own things, but it's not letting me view other people's stuff. It's hiding some features of BuddyPress, I'm sure, because I didn't actually edit these. And I think I have to do this a couple times because I think each of my users is like a different membership level. But here I'm going to edit up my level one and scroll down. And I think usually like add-ons and things for PMPro Pro, we squeeze the settings into this other settings box. It might be hard to find things. But here's BuddyPress restrictions. So you got, it's phrased like unlock BuddyPress. Now this level doesn't have access. And you can give it access to all of BuddyPress or just specific features. If you say specific features, you can like which, groups, joining groups, group creation, public or private messages, friend requests, member directory. So you can get detailed, like which level has access to what. And that's useful if you want, similar to bbPress, like when I was talking about roles, like have some people view forums, but then give access to other people to moderate. So you can like, hey, some people can join groups, but some people can build groups. And they're two different membership levels at two different price points. For now, I'm going to give all my members access to all of BuddyPress. If you're using the member type functionality, there's some settings that would go there. So my beginning level has access to all of BuddyPress. I want my other level to have access to all of BuddyPress. And let's see how that changes the experience when I go to community. I still don't see his info. There's a membership tab, shows me my membership account. Or do I see notifications? I don't have any. But if I navigate directly to his profile, I can see his activity. But as far as I know, like maybe I need like the directory. What else do we have here? BuddyPress member. Yeah. I might be missing something obvious in BuddyPress, but it feels like what I've used this before, like there's messages within groups. And I thought I could get away with using groups. Like what I want is like one big group for everyone. Yeah, maybe I'll really quick add a group and see what that looks like. But I'm almost wishing I didn't have to. But let me go to now settings, BuddyPress. And I wonder if this actually fixes my problem. So user groups, save. And now if let me go here as an admin, activity, personal. What was the other options there? Activity, groups. So now there's groups activity. So here's personal activity. This is me, my wall that people can write on. I think it's funny too. Remember Facebook? I think they called it like the wall. We're like going back in time. Like Facebook used to work this way. If I didn't navigate to Jason's Facebook page, I couldn't talk to him, his MySpace page. Later, I guess when he introduced the stream or I don't know what they call it, like it became like real like modern day social networks. And then like mentions is like when I mention favorites, if I favorited activity, and I guess here's the groups. I think if I go here, it's like there's no group found. I thought sometimes there's interface for creating groups here. Oh, here's a tab. Oh, that's to just manage my memberships to groups. And it was again, like I said, it's problematic that this word membership comes up a couple times, but it's not bad. I think I have to go into the admin here and let's try to find the group stuff. I'm going really quick and I understand like where some of this stuff is. There's a new menu item called groups. And when I click here, there's no groups. So maybe I need groups and I need to add one. And we'll just call this community. Group description. Like let's all talk together. Dogs. Create a group and continue. Okay. There's more. So there's three steps here. Details, settings. So again, I think here's like an interesting thing. If you're just using BuddyPress without paid memberships pro, you might want a private group. You might want a hidden group. I think there's cases even when you're using PMPro that you might want a private group, like people have to like request membership. But for my purpose, I just want all my members to be able to chat with each other. And I'm going to rely on Paid Memberships Pro and the PMPro BuddyPress Integration plugin to make sure people don't have access to stuff they shouldn't. So I'm going to make it a public group. Group invitation, all group members. So it's funny, like this concept of an invite. I think this is a one-time setup potentially, but it's rare to have to invite people. They're not automatically invited. I think there was an earlier question with respect to bbPress, which was like, hey, when I set this up, like what happens to existing members? And I was like, nothing. There's nothing. Like it just works. Like once you activate it, bbPress shows the form and Pay Memberships Pro restricts it. And we check the membership level in real time. But with BuddyPress, there's like this invite, which is like the verb of how people have access. And it's like, oh, like the invites, people potentially have to be invited to the group to make it work. This makes me feel like we might have documentation about this. There might be some code or a setting somewhere to like skip this step. I'm going to take notes to try to make this more clear. Cause for my purposes, like if I want to tell people this is the way to just add like a modern day chat community to your website, it's a little heavy, especially like for me to do on the demo. I guess I'll click finish. Oop. Why did it get mad at me? All members send invite, like a message. Join my group. It's weird. Do I have to have a message? Optional. Send. Now I finish and I have a group. And here's the group activity. And if I talk here, hopefully my other user, I'm the admin, PMPro team. Let me see if this guy can join the group. Group. If I click groups up. So there's no group messages, but I'm group up here. Oh, it's like I have to go to invitations maybe. Maybe I didn't get it. Oh, I was invited to this group and I have to accept it. So there's probably custom code, maybe a plugin or something that's create like a super group that everyone's automatically invited to and then you never even have to worry about it. That's something that I would try to figure out for, BuddyPress. Like, unless you have a lot of groups and things, I feel like I would want to hide this functionality for my site. Group message, I created it. Let me like refresh. If I go to activity for my group, here's all the activity and all the groups I'm in. And can I reply? No. Why can't I post? Why can't I post? Oh, visit group, community group message. I joined. Hello. I'm like learning how to use BuddyPress in real time. Oh, load to newest. And I think there's like an auto reset would load those. It's kind of showing. It's where there's replies. I wonder if that's like a setting. I'm gonna look really quick. So I also saw a question. Someone asked, can you give a reason for choosing bbPress over BuddyPress? There's a couple I can think of. There's one I just mentioned earlier where the group functionality is an extra layer of complexity that you might want to avoid. And people seem by default to have to be invited to and from groups. And I do know that like in the PMPro integration, part of being accepted, like when I chose that all BuddyPress is available option, actually, I should go back to those settings. I think there's specific group settings for per level to like automatically be invited to a level, but it doesn't happen retroactively across all your users automatically. There's a lot of stuff you have to finagle. So avoiding that is potentially, hey, if I just want people to be able to talk to each other and I don't need some of the other features, maybe bbPress is better. And like I said earlier, it really is just like a less complicated plugin. It focuses on the communication. And I think I'm going to want to explore like over the coming weeks and months, ways to improve bbPress, like visually and functionality wise to get the communication going faster. And maybe you don't need all the stuff in BuddyPress. Um, or maybe vice versa. Some of this complexity of setup, maybe we can streamline the setup so that you can use the functions of BuddyPress more easily. I was going to look for both group settings. So if I go groups, oh, maybe I just need to refresh groups. There's kind of groups here. Maybe if I edit, are there settings? So now I have new settings. Remember I made this on the front end? And this is a public group. Who can invite? Add new members. You can add members from here. You can manage the members from here. It's weird. Like if you just want everyone in the group, there's probably a way to do it. Yeah, settings. And I'll go bbPress settings. Let me look here. Options. Group settings. Because I activated the group module, when I come back to options, I have a new section of options here for groups. Enable group creation for all users. I don't want that. Or customizable avatars. No. Cover images for groups. Yeah, okay. Maybe we can change the view. Oh, allow activity stream commenting on posts and comments. I'm going to set that. I guess on a post or in the comments for post, should it go to the activity stream? I think yes. What I'm looking for is like how to reply to activity. And I don't know. I thought there was replies built in. That's like maybe that's like a add-on or something, or like a feature that I'm missing here really quick in my quick demo. But that could be like another thing here. And so before I move on, I'm going to show the membership settings. So now that I have groups enabled, I think when I scroll down here to our BuddyPress restrictions, it's going to like, it has new group settings and it says so basically when I get this level, add me to these groups. Oh, and here's just add me or invite me. So for my use case, I want everyone in the group. You want to just automatically add them to the group. Sometimes like groups are optional. If you have 12 groups and one group is, I was making fun of the dating sites earlier, but dating site is a use case of PMPro and BuddyPress and like a valuable part of the world. Almost everyone I know who meets their significant other these days met them on a website. At a dating website, you'd have different groups for so you can so and so, so you can so and so, stuff like that. Or if it's a bigger group with different interests, you have a lot of groups. You don't necessarily want them automatically added to every group. You want them invited so they can choose which groups they use. But for my side, I want everyone automatically added so I can save the level. And I think the one oversight there is if you have 1,000 existing users, they're not in that group automatically. And we probably have a way, I'll try to find it or we should probably build it into in a more obvious way in our plugin to be like, oh my gosh, like you maybe want to invite existing users. I think we maybe have, actually, I can't demo it. I think we maybe have a clever thing. If your level has access to a group and it says add to the group and you look at a group, it like just adds you in real time. But so it doesn't technically update the database and do a bunch of stuff, but you'll be able to navigate to it. So yeah, that's like a little bit of BuddyPress. So I think, hey, like this is like a more modern interface and I'm not like real time, like kind of managing multiple windows, but if someone posted in this group, it would show up. I think there's still stuff to do to design. I probably want to hide some of this, from my users that I don't want them to know about and stuff like that. And then I need to find or figure out the replies, or maybe it needs to be built. I assume that the activity had replies on them, and I'm confused about like why that's not out of the box. So I'm not crazy about BuddyPress out of the box as like this like modern day Facebook replacement solution. Personally, I'm leaning towards bbPress with some Ajaxification because I know I can do that, and maybe I can do it in a way I can share. One thing I'd like to really go over maybe in 10 to 15 minutes is BuddyBoss, which I think tries to solve some of these solutions, but is like a bigger and potentially costlier solution. But there's a free version, so I can demo that and get Jason's take on it. But before, questions about BuddyPress and stuff, Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are a few questions in the comments, but before I get to those, humor me for a minute. What if you
Okay.
click, like, the little response button when you're on the go back to
Oh
the
my
front
gosh,
end?
is it as easy as that? Okay, yeah. I'm here.
Okay,
Activity
so activity,
for my
and
group.
then when you
Is there like
go
a comment?
comment.
Uh, Look at it. Yeah, see? You know what? So modern day, like Facebook design has this comment box open by default. And I
Right.
like that's something you
Or
could
it
probably
even
program
has
to try to do
it's
that.
not open all the way now, like, on mobile, it's not open all the way, but it does, like,
Yeah.
tap here for a comment
Yes.
or
It's
whatever.
like,
So,
yes.
yes, there you go. You figured out how
Yep.
to
So I
reply.
think the design is that's interesting. This design, I didn't even think of that. And you're smart. Oh, because you're smart. Thank you. I replied to theirs. I can even reply. I can even
But it
reply
also doesn't look
to my
like it
own.
would do anything, it just looks like an icon, so I would understand why you didn't click it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's some interaction between MemberLite and BuddyPress, or it's trying to be minimal. But the modern thing is definitely to have some kind of a hint of a UI that you can reply, like a text box that you click in and then it expands and gives you stuff. So that's like a stylistic change I would make to this to make it more. And the thing we could demo is what it looks like on mobile. I don't know, like out of the box. This is probably hard to view, maybe, but PMPro activity. It's not terrible on mobile. So I'm here, but I do. It's like, hey, you got to click to reply.
Yeah,
Do-do.
but it's there. It's
There's a little
there,
bit
and
of
it is out of the box.
yeah, yeah, cool. I didn't mean to. Yeah, I knew like it had to be there. I appreciate you. Maybe we should Maybe that's just Jason was being Dopic, or that I think there's definitely things we could do. I think there's potential if some of these design improvements, like hiding stuff is a little weird, but Memberlight could definitely have a module that like overrides this like BuddyPress Nouveau theme and does some of this. Like, I don't, yeah, it'd be cool to work on.
Okay, now we'll get to the questions.
Questions. Yeah.
Do you know if BuddyBoss is compatible with Dokkan Market?
I don't know what Dokkan Marketplace is. That sounds familiar.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly either.
Um, multi-vendor marketplace plugin. WooCommerce multi-vendor. I have no idea. That sounds like a question for BuddyBoss or Dokkan. Or maybe the WooCommerce team. Multi-vendor marketplace, and I don't even know what that would mean, like, to have the marketplace integrate with BuddyBoss. So, I think you need to go to one of those plugins and ask a more specific question.
Then the other question that King Comeback TV also had was, what's the difference between BuddyPress and
Yeah,
BuddyBoss?
right.
And
Um, yeah, go
you
ahead.
touched on bbPress though, not BuddyPress.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's, like, confusing, they're all related. So, bbPress, just forums, built by some of the similar folks, John Jacoby, one of the main guys contributed to bbPress and BuddyPress. BuddyPress, we didn't show it, but there's a way to enable forums for groups, and I'm pretty sure that installs bbPress and sets up, like, bbPress forums per group. I don't know if that's, like, a popular feature. So there's similar people work on both those plugins, and there's some functionality between them. BuddyBoss then started out as a theme for BuddyPress. So I think the motivation with some of the stuff I'm looking at here, we're like, I wish this looked a little bit different, a little more modern. And BuddyBoss made like a really modern theme, both for the and maybe this is a good segue. We'll demonstrate it for the communications portion, and also the account page has like a really recognizable modern take on how people are like how to show like a member on your site, like all the different things they have access to. So in BuddyPress, these tabs are like a little unwieldy. I think BuddyBoss, and we'll see if it's still the case. It puts the things on the left sidebar. And so it started as a theme, and then BuddyBoss started incorporating more functionality into the theme and then like made a plugin. They made a plugin that used to install the same way that like BuddyPress installs bbPress to do forms. If you do forms, BuddyBoss would install BuddyPress inside of it. BuddyBoss became a plugin. It had BuddyPress like as part of it. Recently, if you look at the code, like who knows what the case is, but recently BuddyBoss is forking from BuddyPress. They made an announcement like a few months ago saying so they're using the BuddyPress code, but the idea that those plugins will function together is becoming less. So I'm actually excited. It's been a few months since that announcement. I haven't run BuddyBoss to see what it's like. So I'm going to see some of that. But that's the history of those plugins. There's like bbPress, and then BuddyPress had social network functionality, and then BuddyBoss was the theme, but then it started growing and doing other things. And then like those plugins work together. Like we actually don't have a BuddyBoss integration plugin, but our BuddyPress integration plugin still works for it. And we're now, because BuddyBoss is a separate plugin, or it's more separate. It's forked from BuddyPress, so it has like history together, but it's like a separate product now, and it's becoming more so over time. So we're going to need to make PMPro BuddyBoss, but actually it'll be fun for me to demonstrate like how that actually works today. So I'm gonna do because I haven't done it in a bit. I'm gonna deactivate both like the BuddyPress plugin and the BuddyPress integration plugin for now.
And while you do that,
Yeah,
Greg had another question, and I think I could
yeah.
also answer this one.
Oh yeah, go for
Uh,
it.
as an alternative, what if members had blogging abilities and then
Yeah,
chatter can be focused on specific blog posts? In WordPress in general, you have comments. So you can turn on comments for posts
yeah,
and pages and things like that. I actually just turned off comments on things like the homepage for the Quilting Guild because you don't need comments on that page or like the about page, but you can turn on and off comments for, like, posts and things. So that is an alternative, and that's built
Yeah.
into WordPress. You don't have to have an
Yeah.
extra
Yep.
plugin for that.
That feels like it. I think you could, and with some custom styling and development, it could feel very similar that like a blog is the thread and the comments are the replies. So technically you could. There's this understanding that it would be even slower. So if BuddyPress was like a little faster and bbPress is slower, like blogs and comments would be even slower. Just like mentally, the expectation wise of I post to my blog like once a month and I check my comments once a day. And actually, under the hood, that's what bbPress is doing. It just makes a new kind of blog post called topic and a new kind of comment called reply. And it, technically works like really similar, except they've done all the hard work of managing those things and not interfering. So I wouldn't necessarily go down that road if you were looking for a community, but you could imagine like a community where you have 10 authors who are really smart and they're the ones who are putting out all the important, useful stuff. And you just want your people to talk in the comments, enable comments, or even enable like Facebook comments, or I don't know if it's popular anymore. Discuss, DISQUS, I think, was like a commenting plugin. Jetpack has, I think, like real time comments. Um, so you could enable comments on a blog post, and then that comment thread becomes a kind of like community like discussion area. So it is like a lightweight way to have conversation. One piece of that is like that comments by default are like expected to be public. If the blog for PayMasters Pro, if the blog post was restricted, it also restricts the comments. Usually, like your theme might try to do something weird.
Here's what
Um,
Greg is trying to
yeah.
do.
So
A member may post a case and
yeah,
request feedback,
yeah,
but I guess they could link to the blog post in the group feedback forum.
yeah. It feels. I feel like I would go. I would lean towards bbPress potentially for that. I think because you don't have to make them a quote unquote author on your website. Like writing a blog post feels like they're going to be exposed to more stuff, and you're going to have to hide stuff from users. Like I don't want them to like worry about the Yoast SEO of their case. It feels like using a dedicated plugin for this versus building something on top of blog posts makes sense. But it's good to know your case because Greg, I appreciate you watching this whole thing and being around. We'll keep you in mind. I
All
just
2.5 plus hours of it.
we're still going. Thanks for hanging out, Sam. Mm, nice. Okay. Yeah, maybe get Liebenden's comment figured out. I don't understand it now. But you notice I'd search for BuddyBoss. It's not in the WordPress.org repository. I wonder, I'm going to try. I don't know if it's there. I'm going to search for it as a theme. If I search for a new theme, I don't think it's here either. So but I did go to the BuddyBoss website and it says buy now. We do this. Um, hey, we got free stuff, but why not ask you for money? Let me click pricing. They have a free version, right? Risk free. All right. So I went to their website. I'm not looking for free. Let me search. What was I gonna do? I actually searched Google for free and got it. And I hope I wasn't on some like scammy site. It could be this is a paid plugin. And I'm pretty sure I have access to this because we work together. We have an account to be able to buy free platform. Okay. This is all fine. They're like in open source software, we try to make money. We don't always lead with the fact that things are free. Trying to get money from the businesses. I know that BuddyBoss is a awesome product and worth the money, but it took me a little bit in the footer. I found they're free, and I'm curious what their free offering is, and maybe later we can review like the paid offering. But now the platform, the design exactly community one is free. I'm gonna click download now. Cool. I can actually skip this to get out of their marketing. No thanks. I just want the platform. That's good. And I got to download. So I think if I go back to my website here and go to plugins, add new, upload plugin, choose file. You're going to see my downloads. There's a BuddyBoss platform 2.3.42.zip. Install now. I'm assuming this is a plugin zip file. So I'm installing it from the plugins page. And let's see what we get. It was fun for me. So this is a default WordPress screen. Hey, I uploaded the plugin. Do you want to activate it? Cool. This is good. And then BuddyBoss takes over the screen like, hey, welcome. Consider the BuddyBoss theme, some resources to get started. I'm not going to read their documentation because I'm just trying to do it myself. That's kind of part of the fun for this video. So I'll close this. And I notice I got a BuddyBoss icon here. And I still have settings BuddyPress, but I think I disabled that plugin before we started, right? Do you remember that? Release notes, BuddyBoss platform 2.3 changes. So it's weird when I came back to plugins, it just opened this, maybe some kind of setting. So I'm almost certain that I deactivated the BuddyBoss or the BuddyPress rather. The terms are hard. I'm almost certain I deactivated the BuddyPress plugin, but it still seems like that even though BuddyBoss is choosing to eventually fork from BuddyPress, what it actually does is install BuddyPress as a dependent and if a dependency. And so actually, yeah, weird. And we could look, actually, I'll show you the code. Let me open my, hold on. I had this open recently. Must look. Here's a code for the site. I like the plugins. I have the BuddyPress plugin. I have the BuddyBoss platform. You notice the BP dash. This is all like a bunch of BuddyPress stuff. And then I forget where they sneak it in here. They like have like their own version of the BuddyPress plugin. So these are two plugins. BuddyBoss platform is a plugin. BuddyPress is a plugin. I see BuddyPress settings, even though I have the BuddyPress plugin deactivated because part of BuddyBoss activates BuddyPress in the background. So anyway, we got over that kind of confusion. Let's see what we're doing. I'm going to ignore the BuddyPress settings here, but what's weird though is I already set up BuddyPress, so I'm not getting like the full starting from scratch experience with BuddyBoss. But I'm going to, one of the things that BuddyBoss does, I know that's cool is like they have one menu with everything in it instead of like spreading their features throughout their menu. And I really appreciate that because that's a decision we also decided to do. So I like that. So BuddyBoss, let's click components and I'll do the same kind of thing. So the screen looks a little different than the BuddyPress one, but it's familiar. Like, hey, these are components you have to use. Now, like member profiles and profile fields are required. Remember I had those like deactivated for the BuddyPress demo? These are not required. I can't turn those off. And then I think all these are ones that I had before, but we had groups or the names are a little different. Forum discussions, social groups, activity feeds. So I think the naming is all slightly different. I think I only had like groups and activity streams. I don't know what forum discussions is. So it's maybe like, let's leave it and we'll see Q&A style message boards. I want to see like their groups and their activity feeds. And for my use case, again, where I'm like, hey, I want to put this on my paid memberships pro site and invite people into hubs or invite the tooltip people or invite our paid members into a closed space so they can talk to each other and Sam and her army of bots. So we're going like Sam bots. This would be good. Little nuggets. There's a bunch of that. If you remember like the screen for BuddyPress, I'll try not to only be comparing to BuddyPress, but there's quite a few more of these things than there used to be that they're out of the box for BuddyPress. And that's, I think, part of what BuddyBoss is adding too. Pages, I'm going to leave alone. Settings, registration. Again, like we're letting paid memberships pro register. So I want to leave that. Privacy. It seems like this paid memberships pro kind of handles some of this stuff. These might be good anyway. Like I would want to investigate these and how if they make sure they play nice with PMPro, they probably do. It's not, we do a lot of this. This is stuff that we do too, but it's maybe nice to check these things. And I might check them now, actually. Not the private website. I want logged out people to be able to gain access to my website, but I don't mind on my website here. Like people having to be logged in to access the REST API or RSS feeds. Again, like PayMasters Pro has its own protection, but maybe like BuddyBoss is setting up other RSS feeds or other REST API endpoints, and we want those to be protected too. So let it do its thing. BuddyBoss app. So I think I'm not going to do this either, but like mobile, I said it was important, and we'll see what it looks like when I just click the mobile button in my browser. But I know BuddyBoss has an app, so it installs as like a native iPhone app, probably Android, and the native experience is probably a little faster and better than the online mobile experience. It's also so integrations BuddyPress. So it's yeah. Oh, okay. So if you enable any third-party BuddyPress plugins that use this method, those options will appear. So one of the like the nature of the history of BuddyBoss and one of the features is like any BuddyPress plugin, including the paid memberships pro one, will work with BuddyBoss. And we don't add settings here, but if you did have a third-party plugin that added settings here, they would. They already have an integration for LearnDash, so maybe they have some kind of we like Lifter LMS, but maybe they have some kind of deal to recommend LearnDash and work really well with them. Pusher, Pusher channels, WebSocket service, real-time features. So, okay, so this is interesting. Like, we don't want to get into the technology. I want that like real-time live feel to my chat. To be able to do that on any random shared host that like a WordPress site is on is probably hard. And it seems part of what BuddyBoss does is it has a service built in. It's called Pusher that kind of helps make things real time. Let's see how it works on my local site without that, but that's interesting. Browsing through tools. They have an import tool, other stuff, help and credits. Okay. So let me see my groups. Are my groups? I still have my community group and I have forums. I have a community forum. Oh, it probably detected I was using bbPress. I had bbPress set up, and so it activated like a bbPress module. I'm gonna see what it looks like. Um, we'll go in activity. This is just showing me like all those threads from the back end. Emails is interesting. I think this is like a way to manage email templates used by the service. So let me just see what's showing up on the front end, and maybe I have to add menus or change things. I'm gonna clean up my windows a little bit too. Let me do that. It added back because BuddyPress and bbPress are both active. It added back my forums links. Let me see. It's adding timeline. That's what Facebook called their new stream, the timeline. It wasn't the Facebook wall, it's the Facebook timeline. So I think that's like the interface that I'm looking for. So let me see what that is first, and we'll see some of the other stuff. This is a little bigger. This looks different. I clicked and it like went big. You still have to click to expand the reply, but at least it says reply. But that is it that one? Oh, you have to click comment. So this interface is still very similar to BuddyPress for now. There might be themes that do things. This like pop-up is kind of interesting. So this is what I'm looking for. I mean, Buddy did this too, where it for when you first post, it's like this interface looks like something I can type into, but then it takes over the screen. It's giving me options on posting. Man, it's funny. Like I would really just put that comment down. I'm gonna get caught up on it. So this is the same timeline. So I said it's just called timeline. It's like the activity stream, I think. But what if I go to my profile? So this is my basic profile and then my timeline. So it seems like BuddyBoss is introducing the concept of a timeline. This interface is maybe I would give it like slightly better than the BuddyPress one. And I'll just type to see what happens. This is cool. Maybe I didn't notice this one before, but there's formatting options maybe and mentioning stuff. It's pretty neat. Post, and then you can like. I feel like there's favorite. It's called so this is and I mentioned the Facebook interface, but again, it's really like the social network interface. There's been like some improvement, but and also I don't know if I'm getting when I'm using. Oh, here's the thing actually. So I'm reviewing this UI. I'm using the member light theme. I wonder if somehow get like the BuddyBoss theme, it would look totally different probably. And I wonder if it like recommends it to me here. I think So I think actually if you watch their videos, you'll be like, "Hey, this looks pretty cool, but it doesn't look as cool as if you paid for our theme." It's probably part of the BuddyBoss model. And it's cool to see it out of the box. I suspect that a lot of this kind of UI stuff that I'm looking for maybe would be a little bit improved. But already, like, there's only one of these tabs instead of two. I have a little bit of a design thing going on here. I still have this concept of groups that I'm not sure I need. Let me see if I go to groups, my groups. So I wonder if I go into the BuddyBoss components and I say, hey, I don't need forum discussions. So I don't need groups. What does the feed look like? Is there like like an everything stream? I don't think so. I think if I go here, also, oh, these links are showing up. So it's my
We do
profile. Go ahead.
we do
Yeah.
have one question, but also
Yeah.
Tom says the Body Boss theme makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I'm already like, as I'm browsing, I was like, oh, yeah, this is not Buddy Boss I'm used to. It'd be really cool if we could borrow stuff from the Buddy Boss team and just do some nice things in Memberlight. But I know there's also a bunch of functionality and like good stuff they pay for. Yeah.
And the question
Yeah.
that we had is, am I hearing that Buddy Boss has an app? Could this mean if I use this on my website, I could have an app for my members to use to talk to each other, or am I reading too much into it?
No, yeah. And it's funny, like by app, people usually mean mobile app. And yeah, so they have a mobile app. And I guess I don't know exactly how it works. There's a demo here. It's 28 minutes long. I'm not
Wow.
gonna watch it, but I my understanding is it's an app you would download and then I don't know if it's a Buddy Boss app and then it's like the Slack app where it's like, which communities are you in? And you would add the website, or if it like is a way for you to build an app just for your website. But I'm sure if you watch this 28-minute long demo, it seems like probably the former, like actually.
It's on YouTube, so you can find it.
Yeah, we'll send the link. And I think it's really slick, and I think that's one of the features people like a lot. I almost feel bad I'm not showcasing the theme, but actually, BuddyBoss has chosen to give the platform for free this way, and I mean, I think it's good to have it. I would wanna I have a copy of the theme. I'm not gonna install it now because honestly, I'd have to find, like, where we have it stored and stuff, but that would be a cool thing for a future demo. Of course, when you change to their theme, I lose all the stuff of the theme I'm using, right? So it's almost, it'd be nice if I could somehow avoid that. I have to change my menu, and I think this changes, like, quite a bit. So, I think it's worth so, I mean, it's like Buddy Boss from now, it feels like a little slicker. I like how it combines things. Um, that download is for free. I know they have, like, a bunch of they have, because there's, like, a commercial entity behind Buddy Boss, they have a lot more, like, paid add-ons that do things that I think they take care of their customers really well. It's not a community project. So it's like PayMarshals Pro is a free plugin, but there's a commercial entity that makes money behind PayMarshals Pro. And we do videos like this and make things all day and build things and have no discredit to the BuddyPress team. Like they do a good job, but I think and there's an ecosystem of products for it, but it's not as like, like central. It's not as like tightly presented as like the BuddyBoss stuff. And I do think that theme matters a lot. So if I'm thinking about paid memberships pro using one of these tools, I still am leaning like I was like, dude, I love bbPress and like how we already have it and it's like really simple and straightforward. It just has the communication features. And I don't think I need necessarily like private messaging or groups or profiles, which we already have, or some of these other components. I would consider looking at the Buddy Boss theme, it's interesting. Like it's probably not an option for us. I'm having like flashbacks to support tickets where I think there's a way to say when you're on the activity page, load Buddy Boss, and when you're on the checkout page, load Member Lite and stuff like that, which is like a way to get around. So you can have the Buddy Boss theme on certain pages and interactions, but not have it take over your whole website. But that sounds a little bit like a headache. I would maybe just want to try to style this myself Um, which would, to be fair, is gonna cost, like, a ton of time from, like, really smart developers and designers. It's not, but if we do it, we can share our work with our members too, so it might be worth the effort. So those are things that I'm noodling. Are there other questions about BuddyBoss or,
Not in the
uh,
chat, but I'm curious, out of the
communication? Yeah.
box, which one would you recommend?
Which one?
Yeah. Not like a specific
Yeah,
use
yeah.
case, but just in general.
Man, I think if you're starting from scratch, you can look at, and you're doing like a community, you're building a community site and you don't have a website already, I would give BuddyBoss a really hard look, and I think it's worth the money. And if you look at their demos on their site and install the theme, like you're not already using a theme in a workflow, I would look into BuddyBoss. People are like crazy happy with it. The team is good. They take care of it. We support it really well. And so I would look at that and try that way. I think it's meant for, I don't know what it says on their homepage. I think they're both meant for community sites. Full scale social networking features on your website, online learning community, WordPress for online learning and community. Yeah, this is my website. Oh, wait, did I spell it wrong? I spelled it wrong. Hold on. Don't. Fun, flexible software for online communities, teams, and groups. So they're both looking for online communities, but again, like this, the theme is really nice. People love it. It's commercial entity is um doing it, doing things. So if you're starting from scratch, I would look at BuddyBoss. If you already have a really complicated website like Paid Memberships Pro, or you're using Paid Memberships Pro and MemberLite and things like that, I would give bbPress a try because you can install it. It fits in really nicely. Like it looks nice in MemberLite. It looks nice in almost any theme, and it does the task of like, I forget the gentleman's name. Who's We have cases and we want people to reply. Like it does give people the ability to create new content in a contained way that's not a post and confused, and allow people to reply in a contained way. And it gets the job done. And you're just like, I want it to like be a little faster. I want it to be a little more modern. And I think installing BuddyPress doesn't necessarily get you there out of the box. And installing BuddyBoss out of the box doesn't necessarily get you there. I think if we use their theme, it would get a lot closer. I still would be worried about all the extra stuff it's trying to do, that maybe it's adding weight to my site I don't want. But it's funny, I say that now, that like a lot of these things, like people say I would pay Merchant Sprout. I just need a core plugin. And we're like, sure, use it. It's good. It does. There's a lot of sites that just want to charge for access to a post. But it's like you get that and they're like, ooh, that looks really cool. I want to use that add-on. I want to do that. I want to do that too. So maybe that's the case, like with some of the BuddyPress and BuddyBoss features, is I'm fooling myself that we want a lot of those features eventually anyway.
Yeah, that's something that I realized when I was working on the Quilting Guild website of, "Oh, we just need PMPro Pro," and then as I was diving into it, I'm like, "Oh, but we also need the pay by check add-on, and we also need the directory
Yeah.
add-on,"
Yeah.
and then it's snowballed into all of these different things. Somebody else is
Oh,
asking, you
uh,
mentioning MemberLite, do you need this with Paid Memberships Pro?
yeah. Yeah. And that, for sure, like your point about needing all these plugins, we don't do that on purpose. Like we're trying to fool people by not putting the plugins in those features in the core plugin. But what we know is, like, you saw that thing on our website where like it's a diagram with like 8 different use cases. People are using PayMasters Pro for different things. And so I don't want you to install pay by check if no, you don't need people. We don't have pay by check on paymasterspro.com. Not every site needs it. Not every site needs things. So our answer to that is, hey, there are these add-ons. Some of them are free, some of them are paid for the functionality that only some people would need. The question around MemberLite, this MemberLite is the theme that we built, Stranger Studios, to work with Paid Memberships Pro. So you don't need MemberLite to use Paid Memberships Pro. The demo site that we use here, like our own website, is using MemberLite in the background. So it's a good choice for a classic theme if you're starting out of the box on the membership site, but it's not necessary. Pay Memberships Pro works with any theme. We just build a theme that, to make sure like it looks like we would want a membership site to look, and also like it allowed us to get into the shoes of building themes so that we know like the struggles that they go through and we can work together well. And also we can show themes like a bunch of themes are built, they don't look like MemberLite at all, but MemberLite is free and open source. And if I wanted to integrate with PayMerchants Pro, what would I do? And it's an example of how to do that. So that's MemberLite. I saw
Not
Kim's
required.
question about, yeah, not required, but take a look. It's free and good if you want to use PayMerchants Pro. I saw Kim mention App Presser, which is another option for building mobile apps for WordPress. And she said, I'd love to test this more. App Presser plus PMPro. I would too. I'm really sure that these tools work together well, and you just have to go through a process to enable them. It's I haven't heard about it in a while, so I almost suspect that like, App Presser figured it out. And we should follow up and see what's going on.
Might be cool to do a special live stream on building that.
Yeah. And I know, yeah, so they have a thing about they have content around membership apps. I know that they did stuff with Restrict Content Pro. Shh. What's funny is if I don't know if they have like, paid memberships pro specific stuff, but when I looked at their old content for Restrict Content Pro, the same steps just work with PM Pro out of the box. Like it's not, it's just, oh, here's how you set up a membership site. You set up a presser, you tell them they both exist and it works. That's a really quick overview. Like a mobile app is complicated. And I think there's like these little decisions about how they work that everyone has to make.
Yeah,
Um,
someone said in response to Kim that their personal experience is WordPress PWA or
yeah.
PWA is
Yeah.
more beginner friendly compared to
Okay.
AppPress. Maybe
Yeah.
that's something to look into as well.
Yeah. So like PWA stands for Progressive Web App. And it's a technology that you build a website, and when you visit it on your phone, the phone will treat it like an app. And there's this weird, tense history of phones supporting and not supporting the technology. And I think though it's pretty good. Like if you go to a PWA website, it you it's okay, this is a browser, but you can get it to look like an app really. It's something that we've looked into supporting more. I'm not familiar with PWA ID specifically, but it works on that mindset of kind of just turning your existing website into a progressive web app. I I'm not sure. I think App Presser is like a different take, and maybe that's a good point. It's like beginner friendly. I think PWA you probably like enable and your website's an app now, whereas App Presser is like you start with your website, you build an app, and now you can launch the app in the some way. Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Then
And
another
I think we
question.
covered a lot. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we did cover a lot. What's the difference between WordPress users and PM Pro users? Different tables in the database?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting question. So all word all paid memberships pro members are also WordPress users. A WordPress user is stored in the WP_users table, and it has a role, like you're the administrator. People are usually subscribers by default. If you have authors, they're authors or editors, that kind of thing. So you have users on your website with a role, and that's like the WordPress feature. Paid Memberships Pro adds like a new element called membership, which we store in our own tables. So we create a new relationship on top of the WordPress user and say, is this user a member or not? And I think in the context of some of the stuff we did on like BuddyPress, like a user is like a user without a membership level. So it's like a mouthful. Sometimes we say like non-member user or like user without a membership level. And sometimes maybe in our settings, we just say for users, do this for members, which is a user with a membership level. You want to do something different. So hopefully that kind of explains that difference.
It's confusing, just like the difference between memberships and subscriptions,
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one where
which
it's
we have a
like,
whole
just
blog post on.
yeah. Do you want to, all right, I don't know, what do we call to action here? Awesome
Oh,
theme.
what's the next one?
There's more. Yeah. What's the next one? What's going on next? If you watch the
Our
blog.
next open office hours is gonna be June 8th, and it's going to be Mandy, our content manager, and I. Mandy's going to be talking about gamifying your membership site.
Sweet.
That'd be fun.
I'm excited. Um,
I'm not sure how much
I feel
demoing is going on, is more maybe
it's
more like
not gonna be 3
high
hours. No,
level, like
it's gotta be, yeah.
implementing different, like, achievements and things that you can add
Cool.
to your website into your content and stuff,
Yeah.
um, rather than demoing things, but we
Okay.
maybe I'll dabble and demo, like, the goals progress bar
Oh, that's cool.
add-on or whatever that we have.
Yep. There's some other plugins that kinda do gamification stuff that integrate with PMPro. I don't know if you'll get into them, but even just it's like a mindset, right? Is like and that's important. It's connected to communities too. I kept saying you need to engage the users, systematize what you're doing, and it's gamifying is that magic word that if you search, you'll find tactics for getting people to just interact with your websites and your communities in a stronger way. So that should be like a good one, and even for the folks who watch this. Awesome. Thanks for letting me watching me stumble through some of these community plugins. I've been thinking I'm serious about paid memberships pro community of some sort. So if you're interested in that, there was some interest in the comments. Just keep harassing our contact forms until they harass me, until we harass the team to do something about it. But we are just like, hey, we want to take it seriously. Like I said, it takes effort and we're not going to half-ass it. Excuse my language. I also took a lot of notes about these technologies and not just for us, but for other people. It's just my own use case, but I was like, "Man, some of these tools are pretty close with, like, a little bit of polish and shine." And I'm almost certain that stuff exists, like, I'm hearing in my head, like, John Jacoby, "We do that. There's just a thing. You gotta install this thing." And I'm like, "Ooh," so I'm gonna find the things to install, and if the things don't exist, I think we can try to make them because, like I said, this opportunity, like, I think the world is tired of these giant social networks that are big, giant companies that are, like, just crazy entities for the world. They're just so big and in some ways oppressive and just like weird. Or and it's not even just that, it's just it's big, it's everything. It's like people want to I just want to talk to the people who are into the stuff I'm into on my membership site. And I want a safe place to do it. And WordPress is a good answer. And so we're gonna keep looking at content around this and figure it out, put it in our live streams and our YouTube channel, put it into our content hubs, and make it all work with Pay Memberships Pro so you can get paid. It should be exciting. Thanks again,
There's
Sam.
a Yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
interest on our Slack, our community Slack, so
Sweet. That might be an answer. It's funny,
maybe
I'm like, cutting the
we kinda,
WordPress, maybe
like,
there's like a
open
demo
that
on
up.
Slack. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we or like a test group just to build some interest. Like, it's maybe worth testing some things out.
Awesome.
Cool.
Alright,
Thank you.
well, we'll see everybody June 8th, and it
Alright.
won't be
Wait,
3
I gotta
hours, I promise.
a couple seconds ago kick this. Wait, and I just realized like my camera's off center. It's okay. All right.
That's
Bye, everyone. See ya.